We all know that confidence, especially for a male, is a requirement for being attractive. Confident men are attractive. We know that. But some of you out there, males and females, are confused as to what real confidence is. There's what I call confidence, and then there's what I call bitch-ass confidence, all right? And because there's such a lack of actual men out there today with real confidence, a lot of times that bitch-ass confidence gets mistaken, right, for real confidence or true alpha behavior, when it just isn't. So let's unpack what this is, okay? So we can look at levels of competency or skills or abilities in any task, all right? And we can break those up into 4 quadrants. So you have competency, you have what's called an unconscious incompetence, meaning that you're not skilled at something and you don't know it, all right? So a lot of guys who come in with false confidence, you see a lot of this with relationships, dating, males and females. They think their advice is good. They think that they're good with women, and they really are incompetent when it comes to women. And they don't know it. They don't realize. They don't even know how incompetent they are. Okay, so a lot of times things like things that guys wrap their egos into, like shooting, fighting, women, sex, these are all things that men like to think that they're real fucking good at. And for the most part, most of you are not at all good at any of those things. You're terrible at them. And so it's a level of unconscious incompetence that most of you have in most man things. All right? Now we have the next quadrant, which is conscious incompetence. That's when you know that you're not good at something. Okay? So when you have that self-awareness and you realize you're not good at something, that is unconscious incompetence. All right? So this is the beginning of trying to get better at something. This is also the beginning of where real confidence lies versus bitch-ass confidence. All right? Next quadrant is conscious competence. So that means that you're good at something. You're competent, or at least you're a level of you're good at enough at something, right? Oh, yeah, of course you can always get better, but at anything, but I mean, you're at a level where you can consider yourself good or consider yourself competent at a particular thing, but you have to think about it in order to do it. So like you have to put your mind in it. You have to think through it. It's not totally natural for you yet, but and you have improvements you need to make, but you're there. You can perform, okay, with that competence. And then there's that 4th quadrant, which is where it's called unconscious competence. That's where you are capable at something and you don't have to think about it at all. Okay, in fact, you don't even think or realize even how good you are at a particular thing because it's just not a thought. You're so natural and so good at it. And not natural because you're born that way, although there might be some inbred, genetic characteristics that help to make you good, but because you're just so practiced and good at it that, you've done whatever thing we're talking about 10,000 plus times, and you've done it well, and you don't have to think about it. We can look at professional fighters, professional sports players. A lot of professional fighters, for example, are not good coaches, even though they're excellent fighters. Why is that? Because they've reached this level of competence and skill, and they don't have to think about it anymore. When they're in the ring, they don't think, they're reacting. Okay, and that's good. That's what training is supposed to build for them. But then, of course, for coaching, you have to go all the way back to 10, 15, 20 years ago to take a new person and be able to coach them from scratch. They don't remember that process necessarily. They're not conscious of it. They have to step back outside of themselves and unpack, how did I get to where I'm at? Do you know what I mean? To figure out how to coach somebody else. And not every professional or person who is consciously or unconsciously competent is willing to even want to do that, right? So now we have these levels of competency. Now, confidence is just 2 things. True confidence is self-awareness and not giving a fuck. All right? So self-awareness means you're not really in a unconscious, incompetent area very long, if at all, for very many things. If you don't know something or you're not competent with something, you're not afraid to say so, and you just don't give a shit. All right? But you do know what you are good at. You do know what value you do bring to the table. And you do know what you're consciously competent at and even unconsciously competent with. Okay? You have that level of self-awareness. So it's level of knowing your self-worth, but without having false ideas about your self-worth or inflating your self-worth. Confidence, so bitch-ass confidence is a lot of incompetent people who are unconscious about how incompetent they are, walking around with a lot of confidence about how good they are at things when really they're not. Okay? That's generally bitch-ass confidence. That comes from insecurities, right? And this is why it's so unattractive. Guys who walk in with bitch-ass confidence, who are clearly not competent at the things that they try to present to the world around them, at least not to the level that they're presenting, they come across as arrogant. And that arrogance isn't attractive. Why is that arrogance not attractive? Okay? Arrogance is unattractive when it's not backed by actual objective reality. Okay? If a guy comes in and he's a world-class power lifter and he's a little bit arrogant about his lifts, it's backed by objective numbers. So he's not seen quite as so arrogant. He's seen as just a confident dude. But if you got some guy that comes in that is like bro science gym guy who's clearly not in the greatest shape, talking about how much he's lifting and inflating his numbers, we all know he's full of shit, right? And so we don't look at him as confident. We look at him as arrogant, full of shit, and actually a weak little man. All right? And so that's the thing. Confidence is not about being able to do everything. And it's not about being falsely, it's not false bravado. It's not falsely presenting yourself as good or skilled in things that you're not. I'll give a great example. It's funny, I was talking about this the other day. I've never been skiing before. Sounds weird to a lot of you. I know I live in Michigan. I just didn't grow up with the circumstance where I could just go skiing. Been on a snowboard before on very small hills. You know, I've cross-country skied before. I've never downhill skied. I'm not about to walk into a ski hill like I know what the fuck I'm doing. All right? I know I'm gonna probably fucking fall flat on my face the first time I put skis on whenever I decide to do that. Okay? Guess what? I don't give a fuck. All right? It doesn't matter. You know, what makes me a confident person isn't that I walk in like, yeah, I'm going to fucking kick ass on these skis, and then I fall down the hill. It's the fact that I know I've never been fucking skiing before. I'll take some lessons and some pointers from people who know what they're doing, and I'll start on the bunny hill. And I'll work my way to the larger hill, and I will systematically break it down and figure out how to do it. That's confidence, all right? Confidence isn't walking in there acting like I know my shit and trying to, be a poser and then clearly not, all right? And so that's the difference between bitch-ass confidence. But here's the thing, though, what guys like to do is they like to have bitch-ass confidence about things that are a lot less objective. You know, if I act like I'm a champion-level skier and I get on a hill and fall down the fucking hill, that's pretty objective that I'm not. I'm full of shit and that I'm just being arrogant and that I'm covering for weaknesses and insecurities that I have, okay? But, everybody is a sexual god or goddess, though, right? Everybody's king shit, king dick, king pussy in the bedroom, right? Everybody's all, whoo, like everybody is fucking 3 porn stars in one person, right? Because we're not going to objectively verify that. Nobody's going to watch the outtakes of their last sexual encounter to see if they actually know what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? How about fighting? Well, we're not in tribal times or, old school shit. Like if you even look at someone the wrong way, you'll get sued. So there's an objective reality, you know what I mean, that anyone knows how to fight. But man, all you dudes, though, you sure know how to kick some ass, though. Yeah, you'll fuck shit up. You know what I mean? And so, but yet there's going to be no objective measure to determine that. But most people know you're full of shit. All right? I mean, we can start going down the list. Sex and fighting are like the two like biggest ones. How about shooting? Or hunting. Everyone's this big fucking hunter, big shooter. And then you get to the range and you see, man, maybe not so much, huh? And so it's all these things that dudes like to compete with because they don't have, it's man stuff, that there is no objective means or ways of determining whether what they say is true or not. So they get to just inflate themselves and inflate their abilities. But here's the deal. Most of you guys with that bitch-ass confidence, inflating what you think that you are or what you want to be to some girl to get her to like you, that shit all comes out in the wash. All that shit is you hiding insecurities. All that shit is you trying to hide insecurities and shortcomings that you have. And instead of addressing the shortcomings, you're trying to get other people to glaze over them with your bitch-ass confidence, right? And it all comes out in the wash, man. You know, when you know you can't fight and that dude punks your fucking ass out and you don't even stand up for yourself for that girl, you know, all right? And everybody else does. Or you get your ass beat or whatever, right? Or you're hiding behind the law and hiding behind the rules, all those things. When you end up in the bedroom with that chick or whatever, and she's not that happy about it, and she has to pretend like she likes you because it wasn't what she thought it would be, and then she has to tell her friends that it was great, man, she doesn't even know what great is, okay? Yeah, like, it all kind of comes out in the wash. And all you fucking grass-eating lions, I like that term. I stole it from somebody. All you grass-eating lions out there, right? It all comes out, man. And it comes out when somebody who is actually confident comes in the room. And if they're not good at something, they're cool, and they can say objectively in what way and how that might be. You know what I mean? Because they don't give a fuck about your opinion. They don't care about the outcome. Like, I don't give a shit that I'm not a good skier. I'm not going to have really good skiers coming along and stealing my chick from me because they're the alpha of the ski slopes. Like, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? If my chick wants to leave me for a fucking skier, have fun flying down the hill. I guess that was it. I don't care. If that's how it's going to go, right? The reality is I got a number of other things that I offer as a male, and I know what those things are. And it's not skiing, and I don't pretend to be that. You know, if we get on the basketball court, I'm probably not going to do well, okay? I'm not a basketball player, all right? We throw some boxing gloves on, I might do pretty well, all right? I'm not saying I'm going to go for the professional title tomorrow, but there's a skill set that I have. Basketball is not the biggest skill set that I have. So we get on that court, I might lose that. I'm probably going to lose that. If you're a good ball player, I don't give a fuck. Don't fucking care. Because I know what I'm good at. All right? And I know what I'm not good at, and I have an objective view of it. And I don't give a shit. I'm outcome independent. If some chick wants to go with someone else because they're a better basketball player than I am, then fucking go for it. Go for broke, because there's a number of other things that I offer that are probably better than a lot of those dudes who can beat me in basketball. And you'll never get to experience those things or the level of those things if you're going to mate switch for somebody who happens to have a little bit of a better skill set in a thing that's inconsequential, right? So why would I dick measure and posture up on a dude because of something that doesn't matter? Or whatever. Like, you know, I just don't give a fuck. And guess what? I don't give a fuck because I'm confident. So, that's real confidence. Hopefully you understand the difference between the bitch-ass confidence. Some of your men out there, ladies, are bitch-asses. You know what I mean? Like, I see it. I hear you talk and I see it. And they just are. You know what I mean? They're a pile of fucking false bravado. You know? A pile of bullshit. And you convince yourself with your little Your little hindbrain, chimpanzee brain likes to go, oh, my man, he's so tough because, I don't know, he's a cop. Whatever. You know how many pussy cops? I know, lots. More cops are vaginas than are actually guys who could fight their way out of a paper bag. Can say the same thing about soldiers too, you know what I'm saying? But they're very, very unconsciously incompetent about it. All right? I mean, granted, there's some cops that'll, whip some ass, and bend through a lot of things and all that, but that's not the majority. It's probably not your dude that you're bragging about. That dude's not on Facebook talking about the thin blue line. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't have anything to prove to anybody. That soldier has been through a ton of shit, unless you're getting him drunk or unless he's in that moment or conversation, isn't walking around talking about how fucking tip of the spear he was on all of his deployments. You know what I mean? It's just, that's not how confident people behave. Because confident people don't give a fuck. They don't have to prove anything. Confident people aren't walking around going, you know what I mean, like bragging about like the level of sex they're having with their girl or whatever, that they're so fucking this and that. If you get them in a candid conversation about it and they're being honest, that's one thing. If they're sharing an honest exchange and it's like, wow, like we just had sex all night, that's another thing. But if they're walking around and posting it on Facebook or, you know what I mean, acting like, they're better than everybody because they're so sexually powerful, they're insecure, right? We know that's not confidence. We do. In our deep down, in our hindbrains, we know. Okay? So this meme that was produced the other day was, she doesn't think you're unattractive because you're bald or short or you're broke or whatever. You don't have enough money. She thinks that you're unattractive because you're insecure about it and because you lack self-confidence. I'm going to disagree with that, actually. Sometimes she don't like you because you're broken, bald, and short. It doesn't matter what level of bitch-ass confidence you show up with. All right? So, granted, if you are truly confident, then you'll own all your shit. If you're fat, you're going to get in shape, okay? Because you've owned it. Instead of walking around pretending like you're good, better, attractive when you're not. If you're bald, you're going to do the best you can with that. Most attractive men that are balding will shave their heads. You know what I mean? That's a good way to handle that. All right. If you're a little short, all right, you just wear clothes that work for you and you'll find a chick. Anyway, like you just don't, you know what I mean? Like there's plenty of short guys that kill it with ladies, right? And then walking in with that real confidence, knowing what you bring to the table. You're not going to walk in and be self-conscious because you're short. You're going to walk in knowing what you bring to the table. You're not going to pretend like you're tall either, right? And so that's where the confidence comes from. That's where the attraction comes from. And it's both. It's both chasing excellence and being confident about what you have and being confident about what you don't have, what you need to improve on, and not giving a shit what other people think. That's what's attractive. When you don't give a fuck about what the world thinks, it opens up a whole new fucking way of being for you, I promise. Now, so in conclusion, chase excellence, don't chase women, all right? And be real with yourself. Be real with yourself about what you're good at, what you're not good at. Present yourself, of course, in the best light, but really don't give a shit what other people think. That's the attractive quality that they're looking for. Not a guy who's going to get into pissing contests at the bar over things that nobody's willing to prove, like sexual prowess or fighting, or, if you're a cop or, a soldier, combat experience, or whatever, right? The guy that can sit back, smile, enjoy his drink, and watch the clowns act like fucking clowns, that's the guy that's going to be attractive. Stay safe.